Hi, it's Bridget. Welcome to Abovelifechannel. Today I am doing a channel that was requested by you. I will be having a discussion with Amy Winehouse. This is the first time I've ever connected with her, and I'm going to share with you that I really don't know much about her at all. I know sometimes you guys get annoyed when I say I don't really know much about her, but that's just the truth. I didn't follow her music, and now I'm kind of sad that I didn't, because when the idea to channel her came forward, I thought I should listen to a couple of her songs. So I did, and just a few, I think 2 or 3 songs, and wow, what a beautiful voice. So I'm looking forward to getting to know her. This is the initial contact and conversation that I'm having with Amy Winehouse in the Afterlife. So Amy, if you can come close. Okay, so it's interesting. She is to my right side. It's interesting to me where spirit comes in and hangs out, and I can feel her on my right side. And she feels really casual and really comfortable. She feels very youthful. She's got black hair, lots of black hair. And she's like, oh, some of it's extensions. She's like, it's not all real. It's not all real. Beautiful red lips. I was inspired a little bit by her creative flair with my choice of attire, my choice of hat and such, and feeling you're very kind of simple, like just simple clothes, but with just a style or a flair. Very that inspires me, so that felt good. So she has just a couple, kind of a layered t-shirt on. It looks like there's maybe a tank top or something underneath it. And then like a kind of a sheer shirt that goes down, like a V, like a V-neck, like what I have on. And then black jeans. She's got black jeans on. They look like jeans. They're like tight jeans. And that's what she has on. I think she has high heels, actually. I'm looking at her feet, and it looks like she has, boots. I like a heeled boot on. Totally like a rock star. Like I would think of like a rock star kind of a thing. She said, oh, yeah, thanks. She said, oh, you're sweet. You're sweet. She says, you're sweet. And now, so Amy, I don't know much about you. I know that you were an incredibly gifted vocalist, obviously singer. I listened to a few of your songs this morning, as you know, because we talked a little bit in the bathroom where I was listening to your songs while I was getting ready. But so you are you from the UK? She said yes. She says yes. But she says the reason why you're conflicted about it, Bridget, is because, so I feel her. So I'm getting messages on 2 layers from her. I can hear her a bit. I can see her. So hearing is clairaudience, the psychic gift of hearing. Clairvoyance is seeing. I can see her. That's how I describe her to you. And then I'm feeling, sensing her. So I'm getting information by sensing her through energy. And so she says, she's referring to how I feel a little conflicted. I'm like, I think you're from the UK, but I feel like you have a specific or a separate part. Like she feels like she lived overseas for a while, like a different part of Europe, it looks like. And so I feel her in different places. So I'm not quite sure. So London, England, Manchester. I like to get a little bit of details, and I usually screw them up, Amy, so just so you know. I'm not really great with the details, but like home of the Beatles is what she just said out loud. The home of the Beatles. Okay, so now I see an image of Paul McCartney. Have you played or sang with Paul McCartney? There's this feeling of, I can't hear her respond. There's a feeling of either I wish I did, but I didn't get to, or yes, Sir Paul McCartney. She's a huge fan. And he has commented, I feel like he's commented publicly that you had a beautiful voice. I feel like you sang together. I feel like they did a duet or something. I don't know if there's a song together, or they sang together, or they sang over a song together. I don't know, but I feel like there was some kind of a collaboration. But I feel from her, like she's like, yeah, like there could be more. Like she wanted to do more collaborations. All right, more work like that. You have an interesting style, your vocal style, very interesting, beautiful. It's almost like you were way ahead of your time. That's how I feel. Or way rather late, maybe. She goes, yeah. She's like, dial it back, dial it back. She's like, dial it back, dial it back. She said, yes, I've been told that I'm an old soul, she says. She's got kind of the sultry voice, and she kind of feels like someone that I would imagine in like old Hollywood with, this gorgeous fur coat and this beautiful pinned up hair, and like maybe the 50s and 60s. Like, that's how I feel. She's like, right on, right on. That is definitely an influence in my work. And she's sharing, okay, so there's an African American, she shows me a picture of a singer that's American, that's African American. It's a woman, and she's like like a soulful singer. It's not Aretha Franklin. I don't recognize her. Ella Fitzgerald, maybe, is what it might be. And she says, that's one of my icons. Like, that's one that would be someone that I would be like, wow, I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. And she says, but I'm influenced, I have been influenced in my music by a lot of different artists and different sounds. But the most inspiring to me, I think, that had the most imprint on my work is definitely like the jazz, the blues, but she says, but taking that and putting it into like rock and roll, like Bowie style stuff, like that's the kind of thing that I wanted to accomplish, And she said, I was a huge fan of David Bowie, like a huge fan. Did you ever meet David Bowie? She said, yes, I met David Bowie once. She says, I met him once. And it was pretty awesome. She said it was pretty awesome. So if you're from the UK, I don't feel a strong accent. When you're talking to me, I don't hear you in an accent. And why would that be? Your spirit, so you know more about the spiritual communication now, connection, because now you're like on the other side. So why is that I don't hear your accent? And she laughed and she said, because you're Americanized, she says to me. I'm like, oh, really? And then she reaches over and she asks if she can smoke. Like, she asks for a cigarette. I'm like, you go right ahead, because in the afterlife, I can't smell that. It's fine. And she says, oh, she said, I know. And she's kind of like, it's on the side. She said, I know it's a dirty habit, but I had to do something, to calm the nerves. And she's showing me like her hands shaking, like tremors in her hands. Tremors in her hands. Okay, so can you talk to me a little bit about the accent? Why don't I know you said Americanized, but I'm feeling like there's something about where you lived or where you were raised or something. Like, I almost feel like it's regional, like there's a dialect or a little bit of a different accent to the words because of where you lived, the region that you lived in. That's how I feel. Is that accurate? She said, yeah. She said, yeah, you're close, but she said, you're never going to get it. She said, you're not good with geography. And she reaches over, you're right, I'm not. And now she just kind of tucked a leather jacket, it looks like a moto jacket, over the top, and it's like really soft. She said, yeah, feel it, it's real soft, feel it. It's like, she's like lamb's leather or something, some kind of a different, it's not like a traditional leather and stuff. It's really, she's like, yeah, feel it, really soft. I'm like, oh yeah, nice. She is very cool. Your cool factor is like way high. It's very good. Awesome. All right. So I'm super comfortable talking to you. It's really casual too. Thank you. So one of the things that people are going to want to talk about, she says, yeah, I know, the whole death thing, right? Yeah. And she's like, yeah, it's okay. It's totally fine. You can ask me anything. She says, it's totally fine. You can ask me anything. All right, so I don't know how old you were at the time of your death. I don't know where you died, and I think I know. Remember hearing that you died of overdose, that drugs were involved. Is that true? She said, yeah, I struggled. She said, a lot of creative types, as you know. She said, as you know, because you talk to a lot of. She doesn't say people, she says a lot of us. And she said, and that's kind of interesting. She's like, that's kind of known over here, just so you know. Like, she's trying to give me a tip. Like, she says, it's kind of known over here. The afterlife, so we're talking more, I guess. But, so you died of an overdose, correct? She said, yes. Yeah, I did. She said it wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first time, she says. It was not the first time that she said I was brought back from the edge before. It looks like 3 times. And one time she went to a hospital with a B name. It kind of reminds, like what comes to me is like a Bethesda. I don't know where that would be, if it's in the United States or where that would be, but that's just the word that comes. Now that could be because it's near a military base. It could be a hospital that sounds like that, but it looks like a BESTH or something. I can see that. And she said, I was brought there, and she said, it's real. She just said it's real funny how they do things, you know, when someone comes in that's like a celebrity status, you know, they don't want all the fans to be there and the paparazzi, but she calls them something else, the pops or something. There's something else she's using, a slang term that I don't recognize for paparazzi. She says, they're real funny about that. They don't want any of that. And she said, it's not like I'm ashamed of that. I want to be clear to the people that are watching that I'm not ashamed of the struggles I had with addiction. I'm not ashamed of that. That's just the reality. That's real. That's real. And that's real life for a lot of people. You don't have to be famous or celebrity. And it doesn't mean like I'm crushed by the stress or the pressure of being famous is so much. Because if you look, the numbers and the statistics about addiction, she says, are much more intense than simply just people who are celebrities. Everybody in every family, all over the place, different, she's describing like different demographics, different sizes, shapes, cultures, everything. She's like, people are hit with addiction. So it's not just because celebrities can't handle it, the pressure. It's not about that. It's not about that. I just want to make that real clear. She's like, I want to say that. So, and then she says, and it's not glamorous. Doing drugs, mistreating your body, you know, high highs and low lows, it's not glamorous. It's not. It's not about famous. So I'm going to be like the famous people and do that. No, it's not famous. It's not something you do just because you're famous, or I admire that in famous people because they're so cool. I want to be like them. I'm going to do that. That's just, doing drugs is just stupid. But the thing is, it doesn't start out necessarily like, she says, it doesn't start out like, I didn't intend, hey, I'm going to be an addict. Nobody like chooses that. It's just something that gets out of hand. It gets out of control. And for me, it was pills. You know, I smoked some marijuana and stuff, but the pills were, they made you feel good, you know, and it was instant, like quick fix, you know. And then I did lots of other kind of, and then she says like substances or something. She calls it candy. She's saying I had lots of candy, is what she says. I don't know why that's the word, but she says I had lots of candy. And I kind of feel like cocaine. Is that true? She said, yes. She said, but that wasn't really my drug of choice. Speed was not my drug of choice. And then she said heroin. When you get to heroin, then you know you're in deep. Because that stuff messes you up. It messes with your mind and it totally controls you. That is like the devil himself is heroin. That's why it's such a, and I think it's because of the opiate component that it must be something with the brain and psychology, and it takes over everything. Some of the other substance abuse, some of the other substances or the drugs that you can use aren't as like mind controlling as heroin. It literally feels like you're possessed, and it feels so good that when you come off it, you have to get right back on, and that's the hard part. I also did crack. I did try meth. So I've had a lot of experience with drugs, and I'm not proud of it, but I'm not ashamed either, because I'm not ashamed either, you know. So can you talk a little bit, Amy, about did this start for you because of an injury? You mentioned doing pills first, maybe marijuana and then maybe some pills and stuff. Or was it like stress because of work or family, or was there an abuse situation? Can you talk a little bit about that? She says, is there a box to check all the above? She says, I think everyone could see themselves in me. Actually, if they really stepped into my life as like a regular person, if they saw Amy just as Amy, like a regular person, I think you could see that. And she's referring to like this rise of fame, like she said, like a rocket. It's like my career took off like a rocket. And for other people, that seems like this great thing, like, oh, you're so lucky, everything's so great. But there's a lot of pressure that does come with that. And for me, managing the stress and the anxiety, for me, I would have panic attacks. I would have days that I was just high and great and I felt good. And then I had other days when I was like, and she swears, I'm not going to swear in the video, but she says F you kind of thing. And she's, giving the finger and stuff to the world. And like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not getting out of bed. I'm not doing this today, kind of a thing. It almost feels like, you make me almost feel like a bipolar. Is there a mental illness thing or a mental health thing? She says, I hate that term. I hate it when people say mental illness, because there has to be like a finger point, like, this is why. She says, like a pre-existing condition, or some people are predisposed to do that. And that's not reality. She says, that's not reality. It can be anybody. It can be anybody. She says, for me, I'd say my anxiety. I'm very much, she says, she's like showing me driven, high performer. And she says, I'm totally a perfectionist. I expect a lot of myself because I know what I'm made of. Like, I know what I'm capable of. I know what great is. I'm not going to settle for good when great is where I can be. Especially when you're doing collaborations and projects with other artists and things, you really got to rise up and bring your best self, because then you've done a good job for both of you, And I will share too, I will say, she is showing me that like drinks, like I see like it almost looks like a glass with like I don't know if it's whiskey or scotch or something, but it's like strong because I can smell it. Like she's showing me drinking as well. And she said it all kind of goes together. She said it really doesn't matter what you're addicted to or what your drug of choice is. Alcohol is a drug too. She says alcohol is a drug too. So, but it's the combination that's deadly. It's a combination. So she doesn't like this referring to mental illness, even though technically, Amy, anxiety is like on the mental health scale, I mean, I recognize that. I feel that myself. I have lots of people that I know and who are close to me too that deal with that too. So I understand how it feels. You just want to rip your skin off sometimes and be like, oh my gosh, I understand that. Like a shaken up pop bottle is how I describe it. Is that accurate? She said, yeah, but she's smoking. Yeah, but it's worse, And then if you do medication to wake you up after you've had like a high day, like an intense day, and everything's high. And then you just get hit, like it's like a sugar crash kind of a thing. You just get hit and then you need to get back up again. So then you have to take some things to help you get up again. And then you're like, ah. And then she's talking about being like paranoid, having paranoia because of it. And so can you talk to me I feel like your death was in the morning. I said, I want to ask you about the morning of your death. Found in an apartment, it feels like, or found in a flat. I feel like you're in overseas. That's what it feels like. I feel like a family member, a woman, or a close friend found you. Is that true? Yeah. She said, yeah. She almost looks like she's on a couch, is what I'm seeing. And there's like no life signs, like nothing. Like there's nothing. Like you had been dead for a while kind of thing. I feel like there's a needle in your arm. So I don't know if that's physically tangible, like I'm actually seeing that as something exact, or if this is what caused it. And it looks like, so an injection, maybe a heroin, overdose. It feels like that. That's what it feels like to me. But she says it's a mix because there's other stuff in my system too. She said it's toxic. It's toxic. That's what I would tell people. It's toxic. It's like drinking bleach or something. Like imagine that. Can you imagine that? Drinking bleach or like rubbing alcohol. She said, I'm like, ew. Or to me, I'm like, ew, ew, ew. That's just, oh my God. I'm feeling like 27 or 28, 26, 26, 27, 28. I feel like I feel like you're young. You're young. But you do have an old soul. She said, yeah, thank you. Thanks for that. So are you reincarnated? And I also want to figure out, she says, no, right away. She said, no, not ready for that yet. She's like, no, not ready for that yet. I don't blame you. Coming back to people, especially right now, you might want to wait. You know, that whole thing with the UK is going on, that whole Brexit thing. She kind of laughed. She says, what makes you think I would go back to the UK? You know? I'm like, because America's screwed up too, Amy. You don't want to come here. She's like, well, Canada's cool. She says, I like those Canadians. And she's like, yeah, they have a good-looking president or prime minister, she says. I'm like, okay. Amy's got a great personality, you guys. I like her. I like you. She's like, thanks. Thanks, she said, but we wouldn't have hung out like in human, you know, as people. I'm like, I know we wouldn't have. That's fine. All right, so you're not reincarnated. So I want to ask you so many things, but I feel like this video is going to get too long because this is the first contact that we've had. Like I want to talk about love for you, relationships that you've had. I want to talk about, you know, more about what does it feel like to be a spirit with you. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about family with you. I want to talk about all sorts of stuff. Can you give me a little feel though? Like I said, Bridget is not great with details as far as like translating the timelines, like calendar times and spirit times, totally different thing. And I'm so like la 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 in the spirit time of things that I'm not good at that. But details. So I would like to know, when did you die? So like year-wise, I feel like, so for your life, I feel like 2014 was a pivotal year, but I feel like you died after that. I feel like you would have like 2015 or 16. It feels like, well, this is kind of weird. Okay, so I see 2014, like that's an important time. I see 2015, there's activity there, and then it's 2016, I don't see you anymore. So I'm feeling like you probably died. It's weird because I see two different things. I see the summertime, like 2015, but then I also see the ending of something and moving into the next. So may have been summertime 2015, or it may have been arcing into a new year. I don't know, because I feel like the ending of a year. December? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. She's like, you need to go look it up. Yeah, I will. But 2014 seems active. 2015 seems a little bit different. And then 2016, I don't feel you. So I think you're gone by then. So, all right. That's it. All right. Thank you for your time. I do appreciate it very much. She's like, yeah, no problem, no problem. And I look forward to having another conversation with you. If you guys, as viewers here at Above Life Channel, have questions for Amy, things that you'd want to know that would be interesting to learn from her or to talk to her about, remember, she's in the afterlife, so she has a totally different perspective. Please go ahead and post it in the comments below. And if you liked this video, this channeling with Amy Winehouse, go ahead and give it a big like, a thumbs up, and share it with others you think would benefit from the information or the content here. Make sure that you click the red subscribe button to make sure you never miss a new weekly channel here at Above Life Channel. The purpose here is to inspire your spirit, to fill you up with hope, because this is your life. So live it. Thanks for watching.